What's up gang, Adam here, back with another FM Immortal video, and we are a fairly new channel that brings you tips and takes on all things Football Manager. Now by far our most popular video to date, with over 9,000 views, is this one here, which sees me talking through what I think are the top 5 attributes for each core position in the game. But that is all based on my opinion, having played the game for, quite frankly, far too long. So what we thought we'd do in this video is put some lead in that pencil and conduct a more scientific test to see if those attributes really do make a difference. So let me show you what I mean. So what we're going to do in order to test if the Moneyball approach to FM could work, and if those 5 attribute areas I've called out in a previous video really do matter, is test a team of average Joes who have 12 in every attribute against a team of slightly below average Jims who have 10 everywhere except for the 5 attributes I've claimed are the most important, wherein they will have 20. So what we have here is Brest are going to be the team that I'm facing. That's because tactically the senior squad play with the same formation and I believe the same tactic, and so this team are filled with players that I've now adjusted using the in-game editor 12 everywhere stat. What we've done is make sure that their personality is completely balanced throughout. They've got no player traits, and we've also used the in-game editor for both squads to maximize the tactical familiarity, team cohesion, and remove all bans and injuries and unhappiness. A quick reminder of the top 5 attributes by core position, which I will add at this point. I have ever so slightly revised for 2 roles, so you'll be familiar with these if you have checked out the video that I've mentioned already. But what I've changed is in midfield I've substituted vision out for work rate, and up front in the centre forward role I've taken pace out for composure. Now in order to do this test we've purchased, downloaded and enabled the in-game editor, so you can do so too for $6.99 I think is the going rate. It's really straightforward and there's a great how-to on this by another FM YouTuber, The Manager's Seat, which I will link in the description. Now we're going to run the test 30 times to get to a conclusion, but before we do I think it's worth calling out a few expectations we have. So we are the away team in this fixture, although I don't think it's going to play too much of a part though, because we're quite early on in the season and we are considered favourites. There are some things we were unable to change, such as a few players that don't know the language. There's a difference in the manager styles and the training in build-up as well, and you can see the manager support we weren't able to change, so that one could be a big factor, although I'm not going to be hone in on too much in-game management. I'm just going to kind of set them off and away they go. Things like codes of conduct, the coaching team, the fan base, they're all less important I think when you're only 2 games into a save, and the height and weight of players I kind of kept the same, so they're playing in their natural positions, but that could also play a part in the results. But we're going to watch the first game in its entirety, in extended highlights mode I mean, so start placing your bets as to whether or not you think the Moneyball team or the average Joes are going to win. Let's see how it plays out. And away we go.
Okay, let's go.
Decent build. Oh! Fantastic goal. But it must be offside. I think Vitinha. Yeah. So the finishing of 20 for a striker there really came out, I think. Unfortunately, the positioning of 10 also showed. So he's off the ball. Could have been better, I think. But yeah, that's a interesting start. Oh God, nobody's got good free kicks in the Marseille team. There's absolutely no corner or free kick specialists, and unfortunately. So far, fairly even, fairly uninspiring, but it's quite telling of an early league game, I guess. Ooh, that was a good chance for them there. I'm going to try and refrain from doing anything that would change the game up too much. I'm not going to change tactic. I'm not going to motivate my players from the sideline if I can help it. Well, 0-0 at half-time, very uninspiring. One very, very good finish, but from a completely offside position. I'm just going to say whatever the assistant's going to recommend, because that's what would happen if I passed it over to my assistant manager. Absolutely nothing, because I've got no stake with this team. I've got no motivational factors. So yeah, let's just push it on to positive and see what happens. Oh, Vitinha, 20 finishing, 20 composure, and he's skied it over the bar. Hey, Aminé had it for Marseille. Team Moneyball take the lead. 15 minutes to go. Oh, what a finish! What a finish! He's got finishing 12 and he's done that. It's unbelievable. That's a good ball from Remy for a start. He's a striker, but obviously everyone's got the same stats. That's a ludicrous goal. That is a ludicrous goal. I feel robbed. I'm just going to double check he has got that. I'm pretty sure. I did go through everyone. He's a midfielder as well. But I mean, they've all got the same stats. But yeah, that's a bonkers finish for a man with 12 in everything. Well, that is very inconclusive. After match 1, I'd say that it was uninspiring. I think I needed to start on the front foot and maybe go positive to try and expose a little bit more space rather than keep it cagey. So what I'll do in the future, because we're going to repeat this test a number of times, is go positive and probably hand over to my assistant manager to manage substitutes, as would be the case for their team, because I didn't do any subs in that match because I didn't really want to influence it in any way. But yeah, we got a goal disallowed, and that was a real good finish from Vitinha. However, he was miles offside, so that's what you get when you drop all of that mental and physical attribute for technical. Yeah, and the equaliser from Lise Melu is going to live long in the memory. I think that's one of the better goals I've seen on FM23, if I'm honest. So wasn't expecting that, but a 1-1 to start off the test. Very inconclusive. Let's see how it transpires. So in the second game, we had a 3-0 win for Marseille, largely thanks to a sending off. In the third game, Marseille won again by 1-0, but that was reversed in the fourth game thanks to this spicy little number. Yeah, right over the goalkeeper, no stretching. In the next game then, we had another draw. And in the following game, Brest won again. Then we had another win for Marseille. Then we had another win for Marseille, but I forgot to record the screenshot. Then we had another draw, 1-1, lots of cards. Then a 2-0 win for Marseille, so they're really pulling ahead at this point. And then game 11 was the most entertaining game yet. Brest took the lead, Ellis with a very nice first time finish, so that's a 12 volley. Then very, very, very randomly, Chancel Mbemba, who is our centre back, so absolutely no free kick, no shooting statistics whatsoever, 10s everywhere, scored that free kick. Then Brest took a 2-1 lead with that shit pinger from Lise Melu. Another screamer under his belt, and then another one to complement that in off basically every post going, taking it to 3-1. And then towards the end, Kolasinac with 20 crossing proved that even if you've got a tiny striker like Payet, you can score aerial attacks. And then Sweeper keeper doing his best work, and Sanchez putting it in to equalise on 90+4. So that was the 3-3 in game 11. Very, very enjoyable one. Speeding up the results a little bit then, what we actually saw transpire was that Brest started coming into the results a lot more. They were climbing above Moneyball from around about game 18, but then more draws came to fruition. We had quite a few score draws, so 2-2 and 3-3. The biggest win was a 5-1 for Marseille in the whole experiment, but the game kind of concluded with a few drab 0-0s and 1-1s. In the end though, the most common result was a draw, and the average Joes did take it for the most wins against the Moneyballers, but let's see what we can draw in terms of conclusions from this experiment. First and foremost then, the position that I think we got most wrong beforehand is the centre forwards. They didn't score until 14 games in for Marseille. Brest consistently got shots at goal as well, and defensively overall both teams were fairly poor, but Marseille were worse, particularly so with goalkeepers. There were mistakes aplenty on both teams. And quite interestingly, I think the mental ability, the difference there was also very notable. Whether or not it was because it was an away match for Marseille, or if it was because that average of 10 in mental is just not good enough, there was an awful lot of nervousness throughout every match amongst the Marseille squad. But the biggest 3 lessons we learned from this exercise was that the deep-lying playmaker with vision 20 and passing 20, combined with an inside forward with 20 finishing, is one hell of an overpowered combination. Harit scored 14 of our side's 43 goals, and Veretout in midfield set him up for 6 of those across the 30 games. So these guys were a real success story, and I feel like we must have got those attributes right. Another lesson learnt is that DMs and wingbacks are just built for getting yellow cards. We took all of the aggression out of their game, and they still registered bookings in most matches, with Guendouzi registering 7 in the 30 matches he played. But if you take away one lesson with you today following this scientific experiment, let it be this: a well-rounded Mezzala will win you matches and score you beautiful goals. And although it was not the point of the exercise whatsoever, I think we all have to stand and applaud this guy, who I promise you was just an average Joe when he scored that rocket in game 1. That will just about wrap it for today though, folks. That was our first foray into playing with the in-game editor. So if you liked this video and want to see more of these sorts of experiments, do drop us a like, hit that subscribe button, and check out our channel for more tips and takes. Until next time though guys, adios.